Let's talk about fashion and style. How would you describe your style?
Interesting question. I feel like my style is diverse. On some days, I just put on a black t-shirt and a jeans. And on some other days, it depends on where I'm going. I'd like to dress up a little bit, put on some fancy clothes, and just go out with it.
What influences your clothing choices?
It depends on my mood, and also it depends where I'm going. So, for instance, let's say I'm going to the gym. Of course, I'm gonna be in like sportswear. Or if I'm going to a wedding, I have to wear a suit and tie. And if I'm going, let's say, to a social gathering with my friends, it's just gonna be like smart casual or casual clothes.
How has your style changed over the years?
A lot, actually. See, when I was a teenager, it was kind of like funky or streetwear, crazy colors, put on some bracelets, some necklaces, crazy hairstyle. But as you get older, I changed my style a little bit to more elegant, more simple, and less crazy colors.
Now let's talk about art and creativity. What type of art do you prefer?
Actually, it depends because I think art is branched. So, for instance, art consists of music, theater, cinema, and paintings. But for me personally, I love art, and specifically, I love cinema.
Would you like to learn more about art in the future?
Yeah, sure. I am open for different ideas, different perspectives. Especially, I'm not interested at the moment in, let's say, paintings or modern art, but I'm interested in the future to learn more about it.
Now let's talk about relaxation. How do you relax?
Oh, I love relaxing. There is a lot of ways to relax. I could just book a massage session, or the most common way and my favorite way is going to the beach on an early morning where it's empty, no one is there. I just grab my stuff, go to the beach, and just sit and chill there.
What do you do to manage stress?
Interesting question. There's a lot of ways, but the first one I would always use it is just to take deep breath and just slowly exhale. And since I'm a Muslim guy, I read a lot of Quran, so it helps me like calm instantly.
What helps you stay calm when you're very busy?
I think just being busy, the idea itself, it keeps me like calm. I'm not a very stressed person in general, but sometimes you get in a trouble or in a situation where it makes you just stressed or anxious. So I try to cope with it and just like remember that it's not the end of the world. I can just finish the task and be with it. Describe a time when you helped someone solve a problem. Recently, a friend of mine asked me about what's the best car option to buy, since he was having a lot of issues and problems in his current car. So I was like, sure, I would give you like few options. And the first option was Ford, since I own a Ford car and it was a pickup truck. So I would definitely like recommend it for him, this option. But he told me like, I prefer something a little bit smaller and more eco-fuel and efficient. I said sure, and I gave them a different options about, let's say, Toyota is a really good option, and Nissan, they have a variety of options. I really decided to help him since I have the knowledge about the cars and what's good, what's bad, what fits his personality, because it's really important to have a car that fits your personality other than the eco-fuel system or the fancy look or the color. And I really felt happy helping him about the option, and he eventually ended up buying a Ford truck. The reason why he bought this pickup truck, because it's a big car, and when you drive a big car in the streets, it really helps you and let's say seeing the view from afar to avoid a car accident or a sudden break. And at the same time, people just avoid coming across you, and it's just like you feel like a king driving a big car.
So we've been talking about a friend that you helped solve a problem. We're going to continue to talk about problem solving. What qualities make someone good at solving problems?
Ooh, tough one.
To thank you for watching this video, I want to give you a free course that has helped thousands of students improve their IELTS speaking score. What it's going to do is take you through every single part of the test and give you strategies for part 1, part 2 and part 3, and also allow you to practice at home for free and get feedback. To sign up for that for free, all you have to do is just click the link in the description. Thanks very much, and let's get back to the video.
In my opinion, the age of the person, because the older you get, the more knowledge and wisdom you get with life experience and interacting with different type of people and personalities and characters. So in my opinion, I think the age is one of the qualities, or let's say a point where it helps in being qualified in solving a problem.
Why do some people prefer to solve problems alone rather than ask for help?
For me personally, I like to feel that I am an independent person and try as much as possible to solve a certain problem with my own knowledge and with my own abilities before I go out and ask someone for help. For example, once I had a problem about choosing the right major where I wanted to study. So my parents were actually like trying to suggest for me to study interior design like my brother. But for me, I was like, no, I prefer to choose something that I love. So I ended up choosing the media field and mass communication.
Now let's talk about emotional intelligence. What role does emotional intelligence play in solving problems?
Oh, it's a big role actually. And it's really important to have the emotional intelligence. I didn't have it before. Like when I was younger in my teenage years, also 18, 19, because it's a crucial thing to have in helping you like solve problems or solving a conflict. Let's say you're having a discussion with a friend of yours. So if you have the emotional intelligence, you wouldn't change it to become a problem or a big issue between you two. If you have the emotional intelligence, you would just take it as different perspectives between two friends and discussing and exchanging ideas. So it is really important to learn about it if you don't know a lot about the emotional intelligence.
Some people think that the best way to help other people is to be as empathetic as possible, while other people think that you should be brutally honest with people. Which do you think is the best approach?
Oh, tough one. Can you just repeat the question again?
Some people think that the best way to help others is to be as empathetic as possible, to show empathy, I understand you.
Yeah.
And other people think that the best way is to just tell them the truth, no, even if it hurts their feelings.
Okay, it's a tough one, but I think both, they both go hand in hand. Let's say being an empath or having empathy towards someone, it's really good, especially if they are having like a major problem in their life or they are trying to solve it. Let's say depression. You can't be brutally honest with someone because you might end up pushing him or her to suicide. So in this case, you have to be really empathetic or trying to choose your words wisely. But in terms, let's say, someone who is actually rude or not a nice person and someone who is a bully or trying to attack someone, you have to be brutally honest and strict with them and tell them you are doing something wrong. You can't be like that or you can't act this way. So it depends on the context or the situation that this person in.
So let me give you some feedback on your performance. I'll give you feedback on part 1, 2, and 3, and then I'll give you feedback on the marking criteria and your score.
Okay.
To thank you for making it this far in the video, I want to give you 10% off our VIP course. The IELTS VIP course is the most successful IELTS course in the world. That is a fact because we have more Band 7, 8, and 9 success stories than any other IELTS course in the entire world. We do that by simplifying the whole IELTS process, supporting you with some of the best IELTS teachers in the world, and being with you every step of the way until you get the score that you need. All you have to do is just look down in the description, just click that, and you can sign up. If you have any questions about the VIP course, always feel free to get in touch with us. We answer 100% of the questions that we get. Hope that you become a VIP. If not, enjoy the rest of this free video.
Your part 1 was very impressive because a lot of students, when they first do the test, the first few questions you can tell they're nervous or they are overperforming. Your answers were quite elegant because you weren't trying to show off, you weren't trying to give crazy big answers, and you weren't really nervous. You were giving very natural answers, just like speaking to a friend or a colleague. And I don't want to use the word simple because the people at home watching might think that simple means basic. I don't mean simple in terms of basic. I mean simple in terms of elegant and simple in terms of effective. So very, very impressive. Your development was spot on. You weren't giving too much and you weren't giving too little. You would answer the question and then you would give enough information for the examiner to really judge your pronunciation, your grammar, your vocabulary, your fluency, and all of that was good. I have no real feedback to give you on that. Nothing negative really to say. There's some issues with fluency and grammar and vocabulary in it, but we'll come to that in a minute. Part 2, what I liked about your part 2 performance was you picked a real scenario and you attached it to the cue card. So they asked you about a problem you solved. It's quite a vague topic. And the reason why they always give something quite vague is so that people, no matter where they are in the world, can attach real scenarios from their own life. And that's what you did, talking about your friend. Talking about a real situation allows you to be a lot more fluent because you're not recalling or thinking too much. You're just talking naturally. So again, I'll use the word naturally a lot because that is, I think, is the most important thing. And you did that very, very well. Good. However, you did stop at about 1 minute 30. And what I did was I just did this. Now, if the examiner is good, they will give you some cues to help you speak because really you need to get to 2 minutes and the examiner will always stop you.
Once I reach the 2 minutes.
Yeah. The best piece of advice is just keep talking until they stop you. They will stop you because they want to go home. So they will stop you. It's hard to judge on test day. You spoke for 1 minute 30, nearly exactly. On test day, you might be a little bit stressed. You don't seem like the type of person that would be stressed, but believe me, even the coolest customers can become stressed. And time warps a little bit when we are stressed. So you might only speak for 45 seconds and think that you've been speaking for 2 minutes, and then you stop, and the examiner's like, what you're basically saying to the examiner, I don't have enough English to complete this. So just keep talking. When I did this, you immediately started talking more fluently again. So you wouldn't really lose any marks or anything because of that. Sometimes when students stop talking and you do this, they are like, and become flustered and
become more stressed.
So, but you made great notes on the page. I would encourage you to do that on test day. The notes are not there to be read from. The notes are there to just help you if you get stuck. So if on test day you're like, I have nothing else to say, quick look at the notes, continue on. Part 3 was also good. The thing I liked about your part 3 performance was it seemed as if you were approaching it like a challenge or a game. You're like, this is actually interesting.
Yeah.
That's very different from how most students approach it, which is, I hate this shit. I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
Why is he asking me these questions? I hate this.
I love challenge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what I loved about yours was like you could tell, you're like, oh, that's actually, you could tell that you find them genuinely interesting. Now, not all questions will be interesting like that, but on test day have that approach. It's a little game, it's a challenge, and you did really develop your answers quite well. You showed, a lot of the time you showed the both sides of the argument and everything. So let me give you some feedback on your scores and the marking criteria. So
Okay.
there's 4 marking criteria: pronunciation, fluency and coherence, grammar, vocabulary. Pronunciation is divided into 2. The first part of pronunciation is, can I understand what you're saying? I can understand 100% of the words that you're saying. You do have a slight accent, but that doesn't matter.
Okay.
You're not being judged on how British or American you sound. That's not what good communication necessarily is. What good communication is can the person who's listening to you understand what you're saying? So for that, the examiner will give you at least a 7. Then when the examiner is considering, should I give him a 7 or an 8 or a 9, they'll think of these things called higher level pronunciation features. What does that mean?
Okay.
So one of the things that it means is intonation. Sometimes our voices go up, sometimes our voices go down. And what we do in English is we use that to convey meaning. I don't know what it's like is Arabic your native
Yes,
language?
I'm native, yeah.
I don't know if they use intonation to show meaning,
Yeah,
but
they
in
do.
different language, they do.
Yeah, they do.
You don't speak with what we would call a monotone, which is basically someone who just speaks with completely flat. But you're so cool that you're not going
Playing
up or
up
down,
and down
that
with
much.
intonation.
So that would be one area of improvement. It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
It's just a part of my character.
It is, yeah.
But it is important on the test day.
On test day. For general communication,
It doesn't really
I don't
matter.
think it is terribly important for you to invest a lot of time in that. But if you wanted a band 9, you would have to work on that a little bit. The quick way of fixing that is to speak with things very passionately. You love talking about fashion. Oh, my style used to be you will naturally improve your intonation by adding more emotion. But you seem like you're quite cool and collected, so maybe that's part of your character and that isn't going to, but again, not everybody needs a band 9, and it might actually lead to more issues, because if you're thinking about being more emotional, it could affect your answers. It may lead to mistakes because you're thinking in an unnatural way.
Yes.
So I wouldn't necessarily do that. Other thing is connected speech. So when we speak in English, I would not say, do you want a coffee? I say, do you want a coffee?
Yeah.
You speak more towards the end of saying each word, each syllable individually. Because you speak quite slowly, you don't connect the words together as much as a native English speaker would. Again, not a criticism. For you in your job, I think the most important thing is that you should be understood. So again, if you try and learn lots of connected speech and you start talking like the way I'm talking right now, I don't talk to my family and friends like this.
Yeah.
I'm speaking extremely slowly for me and clearly for the people watching at home. If you heard me speaking to my friends,
I wouldn't understand.
You wouldn't understand anything. So I think, and connected speech is also something that it could take years to learn. So is it really worth your time to sound more like a native speaker if that is even your goal? Your goal, I think, is to speak English and be understood. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. Because you are not using connected speech and intonation the same way a native English speaker would, I would give you a band 8 rather than a band 9. So it's a lower band, but you shouldn't think I'm bad at speaking English. It's actually because you're so clear that, but does that make sense?
It does make sense, yeah, of course.
Okay, cool.
But I mean, band 8 is a great...
Less than 1% of people get a band 9.
Oh, okay.
So don't worry about not getting a band 9.
I'm fine with that score.
Let's talk about fluency and coherence. Coherence means, did you answer the question and did you develop the question enough? I don't have any worries about that. Whenever you get asked a question, you think deep. You can tell you're thinking deeply about the question. You go, that's actually an interesting question, and that's a good tactic. But sometimes you think so deeply about it that you're thinking about the next thing to say. You don't have a fluency problem because your English is bad. Some people do. So I'm sure you know people, your friends or family, that don't speak English to the level that you do, and they're searching for the correct adjective or the correct tense. You're not doing that at all. You are doing what we call searching for ideas. Again, I don't think it is a huge issue. You're quite a unique candidate in that if we tried to make you better, it might make you worse.
Yeah,
So,
I do understand that. Yeah.
so if we tell you, don't think and just speak the first thing that pops into your head, that would be my advice for most students.
Yeah.
But for you, I think that your style of communication actually is improved by thinking deeply about it. But on test day, I wouldn't try and think of the absolute best idea. I would think of what's the easiest idea for me to talk about, and that will improve your fluency a little bit. I would say your fluency is at a band 8 because of that reason that you do pause quite a lot. And if I give you a band 9, everybody in the comments will be like, he pauses too. But the key for people back home is that what it says in the marking criteria is unnatural pausing. I've gotten to know you today, so I know that the pausing is not unnatural. It's actually who you are.
Yeah.
But an examiner on test day doesn't know you at all, and they might think, oh, he doesn't know the right adjective. He doesn't know the right tense.
Oh, yeah.
You know, for most people in the world, a band 8 is extremely high and is good enough to move to any country in the world. Band 9 is just showing off, you know, band 9.
I'm humble. I don't need a 9.
Grammar, you have enough grammatical structures to talk about anything. So some people, if you ask them to talk about the past and compare it to the future, they don't know really how to do it, or compare to things they don't really know. You have no issues whatsoever. You do make little grammatical errors sometimes. So for example, this is a mistake that I actually make: more simple instead of simpler. Or you said open for instead of open to. So like a little preposition error. But native English speakers make those little slips too. I make those little slips. So what it says in the marking criteria for band 9 is the mistakes that you make are slips like that, and they're very infrequent. So I think your grammar is at a band 9. Same with your vocabulary. Sometimes you could use a word that is a little bit more advanced. If I give you the advice of improve the complexity, you might make more mistakes. I think you're on the border of a band 9 for vocabulary. So I think overall you're at a band like 8.5. As I said before, band 9 is less
Rare.
than 1%.
Yeah.
Band 8.5 I think is top 2 or 3%. Not of speakers in the whole world, but of people who do the IELTS test.
Oh, yeah.
I think people can learn a lot from your performance because it's so different to what most people do.
It's unique, something new.
It is unique. It is unique. So yeah, thank you very much.